Welcome to the Drew Rice Show, brought to you by Neighborhood Ford. From our neighborhood to yours, Neighborhood Ford in Irwin. I'm Marky Billson. It's the first home playoff game for Unicoi County since the 1980s. But let's start with last week's game, because the Unicoi County is not the 1-3-8 champs. They're the second-place team. What went wrong against Johnson County, in your opinion?
You know, they kind of took away what we wanted to do offensively. You know, it's kind of the first time all year I felt like our run's really been stuffed, and you know, that's a credit to them. You know, there's a reason that they've won 20 games the last 2 years, and you know, I think we kind of saw that and felt that a little bit Friday. But you know, we got down early, and then you know, the second quarter I felt like we kind of bounced back and really played well. And you know, going in at halftime, I felt pretty good about it. You know, despite being down 2, you know, we kind of weathered that early little bit there. And then the second half, I thought we really played well. Or I'm sorry, the second quarter, I thought we really played well. And then, you know, third quarter, we're going back and forth. And then, you know, we get backed up a little bit down here. And, you know, I felt like when we threw that pick six, the kind of wind went out of the sails a little bit.
You spoke of the Brock Thompson interception, the pick six by Nathan Lane, one of 5 touchdowns that the Johnson County star scored against you, and that's why he was the Johnson City Press Player of the Week this past year. But what happened? It seemed like there was miscommunication. What happened on that Thompson interception that Nathan Lane returned for a touchdown?
Yeah, it was a bad call. You know, it was a bad call on my part, but you know, he's back there. He's sort of like a lot like the kid, you know, Julian Lane that played for West Green last year. You know, at safety, he's just got a nose for the football, and if you loft one up there, you know, he's liable to get under it. So it was, looking back, you know, it was a bad call, but you know, hindsight's always 20/20, and you know, we're trying to make a play, and Brock was trying to get the ball to Brett, who we, you know, feel like, you know, is our best chance at being successful, so you can't knock that. But no, it was a big play, you know, and like I said, in a game like that kind of turned it. So you know, it is what it is, and like I said, all we can do is get better from it and get ready to play, you know, Friday night.
What is your injury status right now going into play Kingston? How's Noah White?
He's okay. You know, you know, you could tell he wasn't himself last week. You know, he was probably about 70%, but for him to be, you know, to tough through that like he did, you know, it says a lot about him. But you know, he's had a good week this week, and he's really moving around a lot better this week. So we're hopeful that he'll look more like himself this week. You know, but he's a warrior. You know, I can't say enough about him. You know, we've had a lot of success this year, and we've had a lot of guys that have got a lot of you know, press coverage, and rightfully so. And he's probably been the least celebrated of all of them. But I think whenever we do finish this year, I think we're going to look back and realize that he was a huge part of it. You know, on both sides of the ball, and just his leadership and the sort of the standard that he sets and lives by as a member of this program. He's a special one for sure.
It was a hard-hitting game, but what is the other injury situation? Anybody out for this game? Anybody less than 100% in this game for you guys?
Ty Wilson's out, number 4, that comes in and runs a little bit for us. He got knocked pretty good last week, so he's on a concussion protocol. But you know, if we take care of this one, he'll be back first next week.
Now, against Johnson County, again, you were using Lewis as the feature back. You'd rotated him a lot. There was no need in a lot of games to use him all the time. It's playoff time. With Noah White being healthier, do you expect to go back to the rotation of backs, or is it still going to be the Cody Lewis show from here on out?
Yeah, I think we'll probably still. I mean, Noah, you know, like I said, so much of what he does is, you know, his blocking, you know, at that H-back position, and you know, that's kind of where we've hung our hat this year. So I still think we'll probably feature Cody a whole lot, and honestly, I think you know, I think people have now schemed so much to stop our run. I think our passing, you know, we're going to have some opportunities there. So, you know, when Brett's outside and we, you know, we feel like we've certainly got a quarterback that can get it to him. So, you know, we'll probably try to be pretty balanced. And, you know, all 3 of them are always on the field. It's just a matter of in what role. So that's, you know, it's something we've worked on this week. But, yeah, we're gonna try to throw it around a little bit and see what happens.
We'll talk about that after this from Neighborhood Ford on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, WEMB Irwin. back to the Drew Rice Show. Coach, did you think that it would happen this fast?
Well, maybe. It's hard to say. That you say that, and at the same time, these 2 years have seemed like 10 years. That when we're up here year round and everything else. But it's truly good to see these guys having success because we ask them to do so much. I mean, I don't know if anybody, and this isn't a boast. It's just talking to other coaches. I honestly don't know if anybody goes 5 days a week, in January and in February like we do, and continue that all through the season. So, 11 months of the year, we're 5 days a week. So, it's just good to see that sort of start to show up. And the other thing that's really promising is these seniors have been great. Brett and Noah especially. You can't ask for better on-field leaders. But this time of year, it's just natural to sort of look into next year a little bit. We've got a lot of pieces coming back. Obviously Cody and Brock and a number of people on the offensive line. Our junior class, we've said all along, is probably our best class. Mm-hmm. So for having those guys another year and those guys, a lot of them played as sophomores. So it's exciting and it's just a credit to these kids. We've tried to give them the blueprint and they followed it and they show up every day and they work and they don't complain. I think they like being here. They half the time we got to run them out of here at night to go home. So I just think they are bought in, and I think they're proud of what we're trying to do, and what they've accomplished so far. And obviously we're far from where we want to be, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
Coach Drew Rice, Kingston is next. Now, they got here by defeating Gatlinburg-Pittman last week, 20-7. Was that a blessing?
Can I tell you about 10 o'clock after the game?
We're asking now. I know that, yeah.
Honestly, it's strange. Like after the game Friday, we, of course, during the game, I don't keep up with any scores or anything until we get back up in the office. But I was expecting us to be playing Gatlinburg-Pittman because we thought Gatlinburg would finish third and Northview would finish fourth. And, when Kingston upset Gatlinburg, it kind of threw a wrench and everything. So, we weren't planning on playing Kingston. So, we'll see. And I know their record's not great, but I'll be honest with you, playing in that region down there, it's brutal. I think of 3A, across the state, that region 2 is probably like the SEC of 3A. You've got Alcoa, obviously, but then even Austin East. And all those Sevier County teams are good football teams. They're very good football teams. So they're all down there together. And, of course, Kingston's there and Scott's in that league. And most years Scott's tough. So it's hard to say. Like I said, you look at their record and, you got to feel pretty good about the matchup. But then again, you see some of the people they've beat. They beat GP the way they did. And, GP's a team that beat both Cloudland and Hampton pretty easily this year. So it's kind of like, goodness, if they're able to beat GP, what do they look like? But we've scouted them pretty well. And, we've watched plenty of film this week. And, they want to run the football. And, we're going to try to stop that. And we'll see. But, we've got a lot of respect for them. If you can make the playoffs in that region down there, then you're a good football team, despite your record, despite anything else. So they've got our absolute respect, and they came up last year and put it on West Green pretty good in the playoffs last year. So we're by no means overlooking anybody, and we know we're going to have our hands full. But we look forward to the challenge and look forward to the opportunity.
Why is it that Region 2 seems to be so far ahead of Region 1?
Well, I think it's just truly Knoxville. I really do. Speaking from when I in high school, of course, I played in 3 sub-state games in basketball, and we never could get through Knoxville. And a lot of times those Knoxville teams go on to win a state championship, whether it's in basketball or football or whatever it is. So I don't know if it's that Region 1 is that down compared to the rest of the state. I just think we're the first stop, on Knoxville's schedule, if that makes any sense. So, there was a stretch there, I guess my second year coaching through there was 2 or 3 years there where the 3 teams we played in the playoffs, Marky, went on to win a state championship in the first round. So, it's sort of like, just by, geography alone, we're kind of the first stop, I guess. But Knoxville's just, it's just a big place, and there's a lot of good players there. I mean, if you watch Clemson on Saturdays, there's two guys. There's two guys that are doing very, very well. At the highest level, and they're 2 hours down the road. They went to high school, so I don't know. It is what it is, and we're. I thought we played extremely well last year against Austin East, given the circumstances and given where we were at as a program at that point. So, we feel like we're closing that gap. I don't know. Like I said, we're certainly not there yet, but that's the goal. And like I said, we can't look ahead or we can only control what we can control. And right now we're just, continue to work and, I'll say this, it's the best playoff matchup we've had in a long time. That doesn't mean that we're going to, it's going to go the right way, but, like I said, I feel good about our week of practice, and, they're a good football team, and we'll have to see what happens.
You've been listening to the Drew Rice Show, brought to you by Neighborhood Ford. From our neighborhood to yours, Neighborhood Ford in Irwin. Kickoff is next on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, WEMB Irwin.